Yo, 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 yo. What is up, Patreon fan and YouTube, once I edit this to YouTube as well. Today, we're gonna be making a basic Riddim drop. Just a super basic, super rudimentary square 4 drop. This video is for beginners, for people who want to see how I process my stuff, how I think about how I do music. But yeah, so we will get started with that. All right, so the first thing you're going to do, if you don't have it, you can head over to Reason 12. They're on Reason 13 now. Go here, get Reason, either this one, or you can just outright buy Reason. Pay once and you get everything from this one. I would suggest buying it, but you don't get the sound packs. I can't say that I've ever used them, ever, but oh well. Technically, the best way to do it is through subscription, unfortunately, because you get everything and you get future updates. You don't have to pay for it, but which is nice. But yeah, so all right, back to what we're doing. You're gonna open Reason. I'm in FL. If it's requested, I will do other DAWs as well. I just have to get Ableton. So that I have to do. You're gonna want to open Maelstrom. Go to, you can either do it here. It should start you on sign. Oh, also when you get Reason, go to settings. Go to load default sound in new devices. Turn that off. Turn that off. We don't need that on. That just loads a preset into everything. It's better to just start stock. It's easier. You can also open with browser shown. It just opens with this thing shown as opposed to just doing that. It is more streamlined for simple processes and things. So you can go down here, down to Square, or you can go to Square 4. Square 4 is what we're going to be using for this job. Modulator B is going to be where you control your volume, your motion, which is this. The motion is what moves the wavetable along. So if you put this all the way to the left, you have a very stagnant wavetable. But you'll see as I start to move this up, you'll have so we can move this down. Usually more towards this side is where you get those like that. You'll get sounds like that more towards from like 90 to about 115 usually. Take volume all the way up. Usually rate I'll put at like 70 something. Put this modulator B curve on 20. This is the like sync is if you want to do full quarter notes. I personally don't like using sync, but sometimes I will use it. Just when things aren't lining up or I'm having trouble getting it on the grid or just the rhythm feels off, just adjust things like that. You can also I don't really need to do that because we're making a very basic drop, so we're not going to do anything else with that. This is literally all we need. This is a perfectly fine wave patch. You can adjust things however you want to do so. I can show you some basic things on how to process. So you can send it with these little squares right here. This square and this square and this square. You can send this oscillator A to filter B. Turn filter B on with this square as well. Route filter B with this next square up here. Turn on the shaper. The shaper is what will give you saturation and clipping. Better turn that off. You can clip it very hard, or you can saturate it. You can turn on filter. The resonance of the filter, which can give you can get sounds like that. Obviously, there's not effort into that one, but we're just going to do this for right now. So all of the videos will tell you that you should just put in a phaser and then screen 4. That is not how I like to process things because it is not clean. It is super, super, super mono. So my first thing, this is my chain, this is just my preference on how I do things, is I will take audio retro transformer and I will try out these. Usually these top 4 are the ones that I usually go for based on which one sounds the best. So you can see that each of them has a different sound profile. So you can use either of them to do whatever you need to. So there's plenty of different profiles that you can use to get different, like, it's more your mix style than it is like better. There is no such thing as better or worse. Sometimes there is things that work better or not as well. Okay, so I like this hi-fi preset right here. This hi-fi preset right here is pretty nice. I think this is, yeah, there we go. So next we're gonna take vocoder. When we take vocoder, we're gonna turn it, there will be no sound. This is normal. It's supposed to be like this. You will take vocoder, and there's this little knob on the bottom here. It says on vocoder. It is being sent through the vocoder. You want to turn it to EQ band mode. You now are sending it through the EQ, which is this frequency band levels. You can adjust these. I normally don't because it just increases too much harmonic distortion, which I don't like. I don't want to add too much into there. I want to distort in my post-processing, not in the device. I don't want to send distortion into my post-processing. I want to post-process and add distortion. You can always add, but you can never remove. It is hard to remove distortion. It is always easy to add distortion. So we now have a very, 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 very basic thing there. And we can also do... Cool. I like that. That's pretty chill. All right, let us go to add a phaser. I will show you just how I do them. Sync on, as always for phaser or anything that is not your patch, because you can control the shape of your attack, decay, sustain, and release. ADSR is what those stand for: attack, decay, sustain, and release. Your volume knobs for both of these, you can use this one to make a sub for it. I normally don't suggest doing it. I suggest copying this patch, right click, copy this patch, or clone this patch when you start and make it that way. Or you can send it through multiple channels, which is easier on FL. I don't know what the Ableton equivalent is. I think you can just copy the rack and move it, but... yeah. There we go. Okay, so now I'll throw on my Scream 4. Turn this down, turn it to tape mode. This is what gets it really fat and juicy. I really like to push the higher ends of them because I feel like there's a lot of, like, because you're going to have a really, really heavy sub, especially when you make rhythm like this that doesn't have a lot of extra layers. It's really important to keep the dynamics of your synth right, so that they're really hard to hear. All right, this is super mono. You can do this, you can get this back to stereo in a couple different ways. You can go unison, the unison tool all the way at the bottom of your effects rack. And you can go to detune. I usually put it on 4 or 8, depending on how mono it is. If it's really simple. Because, like, look at this. This sonic profile right here is how, like, you can also see the waveform right here, up top, right here next to my head. But this is super, super mono. Like, this is just rock solid. So let's put this on here, detune. All right. Now we just have, that's all we need. We just need a little bit of stereo, and then we send it through a reverb. Let's go medium. All right, cool. Now what most of them will tell you to do is to use the reverb and this delay line here. You can use this one. This one is, there's nothing wrong with this one. I just don't like that this one is not as customizable as the other ones that are in here. I will show you how to do both though, just for the sake of the beginner tutorial. Add this one on here. The steps are steps of delay. You'll probably be able to find it somewhere, but I like this really, really dry, especially for this reverb, because what I like to do after this is take this maximizer and crank this to the moon. So turn this input down so you're not slamming it into it. Turn this limiter on, and then soft clip on at the top. Yeah. All right, next thing we're gonna do is make a drum pattern. Sometimes I like to layer snares. I use a lot of the same drums as well. Get trap samples. All those like dumb like type beat packs, get those. Those drums are great. Those drums are awesome for dubstep. I would suggest setting up a sidechain in your, yeah, I would set up a sidechain in your template beforehand, just make stuff easier to do. I like very mono hats. Second kick a little bit quieter. Trim this one down. Yeah, that's cool. Cool. Drum pattern is done. Move this over. There we go. Cool. That's a little more centered now. Alright, there's no sub in this though, so this is very, 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 very dry. Alright, let's send all of these to where the mixers are. This is like not even like a pre-recorded script or video or anything. This is my actual work process, so. Okay, so now I'm gonna go back to my VST, clone this. I'll delete all the processing on here. Also, you can do that by clicking the top one. Let me just... These are just random things, but... Okay, you can click the top one. If you hold shift and click, you can select all the devices below. Or you can do it the top up as well. So if you do this, shift up, it just is like a... It's like a long selection. You're gonna have to copy the MIDI unless you're on Ableton and you can make a rack. Go into the end of my chain here and add a low cut. super basic, just 4-bar loop. You can do more of it, or you can just copy it, or you can just add some variations into it. I don't know what DAW most of the people who follow me will be using, so I'm just going to do all of these for FL. If I end up having a lot of Ableton users, I will just do an Ableton tutorial, because I use both. I use Ableton, FL, and then I'm still teaching myself Reason just for lessons purposes and for teaching purposes, so that I know how to use everything, just so that it's more so you don't have to be like if you ever wondered like how they're doing these things, they're using these stock plugins from like a DAW that you don't have, like it's really confusing. So I'm trying to use everything base Reason Rack. But now I'm going to go into my personal processing, and I'll just explain how. Obviously, OTT for fucking everything. I don't know why, but we just do. You just do it. You just do it. You just do OTT. Turn the gain down so it's not slamming through. And then a wide delay. All right, let's add just a little bit of disperser on the sub. I made a couple of things in here. I can probably drop these on Patreon, just like some basic ones. This one is called POV, You're Playing to Nobody. This is a emulation of a empty like venue. You can control the size of the venue like that. That's a very good waveform right there. Very even. That means everything's mixed well. Yeah, that's what I like to see right there. Nothing is out on these edges out here. See this sub? See how this sub is very, very mono? That's what you want. Because when you play at a venue, the subwoofers, the big banging subs, all of those are mono output. Mono input, mono output. Those are all mono devices. That is what all of live sound is. All of live sound is mono. So technically, for headphones, not great. Everything is mono. It sounds very in the middle of your head here. You can kind of hear it after a while. Once you mix and stuff, you'll kind of hear where your stereo field is. You'll hear when you have a very mono sub, it'll feel like it's hitting in the skull. Okay, so let's do one of our last things here. This is a super basic tutorial. I'll go into more in-depth stuff once I start recording more Patreon videos, but this is just a beginner intro video. So let's do a mod wheel adjustment here just for this. Okay, so all of your stuff should be in 4 bars, in 4-bar like phrases. I usually do, so I'll do 4-bar phrases. So I'll have one, 2, 3, and then I'll have either a switch or a small flow variation, and then I'll start the next part of it. I'll either copy and paste it twice, or I'll start a whole different flow on here. So. Let's do something very, very simple. We're just going to do control map to this here, mod wheel. Select this area, add in the automation. They're just literally this. Okay, so let's do a new one like this here. So we'll do just eighth notes. Let's do eighth notes at the beginning instead. Do 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 do. It's my signature thing. I love it. All right, so those are cutting too hard, so we got to go in here and open up the release a little bit. Yeah, so some basic processing. I won't really go into anything more than that right now, but that is just the basic video on how I do stuff for the beginners who have been asking me for a while. I'm sorry it's been so long to like get this together. It's been taking forever for me to get my PC to work. My PC actually lit on fire when I got new fans. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you guys a lot. Make sure to subscribe to the Patreon. I'll be releasing tunes more frequently on there, and a lot more tutorial videos based on what you guys request. So thank you guys. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, buy tunes, hit me up, hang out on Discord at Crucible on everything.